Deuce has arrived, and I am here to showcase her. So this is a very momentous occasion for my channel as one of the premier Deuce fans in the DFFOOverse and probably the world. I don't know how many Type 0 fans there are out there, but I would say my Deuce fandom is pretty high in that regard. I love her character, and I wish she was better in Defo, but we are going to cope to the maximum and bring her to all the fights we can, even in Lufenia Plus, which will certainly be an ordeal, but let's not worry about Lufenia Plus right now. Let's worry about what we've got in front of us, which is going to be the Vivi event Story 3.4.2 Lufenia, with Cloud of Darkness and Italian as our other party members. So this team is obviously a magic damage focused team, thanks to good old Deuce supporting the brave damage and providing some HP regen that we really won't need because this team does not have any problems with getting hit. You have Italian is here for the deletes and to be left for the Unifriend later on in the fight with the actual Lufenia enemies, and Cloud of Darkness is our DPS of choice, and I've been having so much fun with them, just experiencing how they can work with different combos, how much you want to pace them, do you want to spam their LDs a lot, or they can work in a lot of different scenarios that I think they were a little bit undersold as a standalone character and not just as a friend unit, which is how most people like to use their Cloud of Darknesses, unfortunately. But that's okay, because I really enjoy the rebreaks, and the Zero Form Laser is such a fun button to press, so anyway, getting into the fight, this wave is super fillery, which is why I really didn't mind just reminiscing about Deuce a little bit and talking about the team instead of talking about what's happening here. They can inflict a sleep debuff on you if you let them get their recast off, so I reset COD's LD buff there, and gonna finish it off with this final skill and the launch. So that's the first wave off. Vivi absolutely murders them, triple target. He can do them in like 3 skills, honestly. It's super fast, but these Tiamats are going to be the main enemy that we're fighting. So there's a couple things they can do, but there isn't a lot of protections from no boss turning them if you can deal with their debuffs the one time they're forced to apply them. So we're just going to pop a Lulu call here to not worry about the first orb, which does disappear at 80%, which is part of what makes this fight really easy to low turn / no turn them. And we're going to pop our first Kurosame call. COD is going to be just strong enough to break them with the EX and get a consecutive turn with delay here, so that is going to be perfect and giving us some braving room. And now we can start thinking about going to town with our deletion. Italian's got 2 turns in a row, so we're going to pop that EX first because it is their best damaging move and it leaves some nice refund for the LD for the follow-up. Now, Reno's call is one of the best choices for this fight in my opinion because it provides protection against the debuffs, which not many calls can do. Either you're going to be cleansing them or bringing a debuff evasion character in your party. So with Reno, when the time comes to give the boss their one mandated turn before we send them to the Shadow Realm, Pyramid is going to proc and they won't be able to hit us with anything. So that's going to be pretty funny to just stonewall the one possible threat they have. And Italian and Deuce's damage are not fantastic at this point of the game. To be blunt, they're pretty bad, but with some HP damage up sources courtesy of Kurosame, and we can kind of hit almost 100k on each target with them, depending on the move we're clicking. Definitely not with Mega Flare, which is split HP, but Mega Flare is deleting them, so it doesn't really matter what Mega Flare is doing. And with COD, we can do our AA combos. I was just checking to see what buff that was. It was just the Lulu buff falling there. And this is going to be B's one turn. It's going to go for the Jetfire, and we completely blank it. So not a problem there. Italian is making use of that blue armor from Deuce to get that extra 20,000 damage for the HP cap. So totally coping, she's contributing, I promise, and I promise I'll be using her in the future. It's probably going to be tough the first few fights to use her, but I think once Ace releases that, I'll be able to sneak her into some teams and get her through some content, so be on the lookout for that. I'm trying to be much more consistent with my uploads come Lufenia Plus. That's kind of like the milestone I left myself to try and actually do this YouTube thing because I have been pretty poor about a schedule so far, so I apologize for that, but that's going to be the goal at least, so we'll see if it happens. We're just having fun, regardless. And that's going to be our orbs, so now we are safe to just completely send these guys away, and Italian is just going to start spamming their deletes. Cod is one turn away from their Zero Form, but I'm going to go for an LD here to refresh the buff. And I think go for a Zero Form on B to get that super, super nice launch. Zero Form has very nice potencies on it, so even without the weakness damage, Cod does have some self-critical damage up, and they also have some other really nice modifiers tied to their buffs. Yeah, there's not a ton to say about this fight, to be honest. There's a ton of ways to approach it, depending on who you bring. The orb is fire damage, yes, which is pretty restrictive because Ignis and Vivi are kind of the only updated characters we have that deal fire damage consistently, but the Lulu Call, which is available to everybody, provides a buff of fire enchant, so that gets you through one section, and then you have Ifrit Summon, which can easily get you through the 50% orb section, so it's really not a big deal. And I think this fight is one of the easiest Lufenias we've had in a while, so it's a nice way for me to get a free pass and showing off what Blue Deuce can do. Yeah, Deuce is interesting. I've used her quite a bit, but she's not a good character for sure, which is objective, but she has paired well with quite a few good characters, I would say. With Terra, she can definitely stick on to some Terra-type teams if you want to play a more balanced approach rather than the Terra-Yang Rushdown. Like, if you skipped Yang or if Rushdown just really isn't your thing, she definitely juiced Terra up quite well for the time, and it totally makes sense. She was an LD released in Terra's cycle, so that's kind of what they were going for. She definitely needed some more extra... Well, her turns kind of suck. Her only good move is her LD, which as you can see, it's like good potencies for a support, it full heals and batteries, and there's nothing to complain about that, but everything else at this point is really dated. Like, even her note buff could use some more party attack to it, I think, and her concerto, why does it take a turn? Why isn't it instant turn and free count on the turn order? Like, it's just such a bad button to press, and it feels so awkward. Like, she doesn't have enough skill uses to just press Dissonant Sonata, even though the note buff lasts for so long, so you do end up pressing Concerto sometimes, and it's like, Dissonant Sonata isn't even good. The potencies are bad, and it's a single HP dump, so it's not like it's anything special there. She released before the time where Brave Gain Up started becoming more possible on supports, because we still only had Porum and Agrius that have released with Brave Gain Up, but it does become more common with Y'shtola and Kistis having it in the October month, and maybe somebody else that I'm forgetting. I think those are the only party ones, but if Deuce had gotten even 10% Brave Gain Up, it would have been really nice. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for her C90, which is very far in the future. And we are about ready to go to town on these fools. You've got Yuna in. Italian did their job with not giving the enemies any turns while they were on the field. We can see that their turns resurface, but Cod is going to send them back in their burst phase immediately. Got the Kurosami call up for the enchant to hit weakness damage, and this is just going to be some beautiful damage. Blue Yuna, Yuna burst effect, Blue Deuce. Just, oh my god, 650k on a 0-4, that's so lovely. And you can already see, even the Brave damage itself is having a super high modifier right now, almost 16,000 or 15,500. That's 0 out of 3 Cod. I do plan to blue and green Cod, but I kind of have to wait if I want to green and blue all the Type 0 characters as they release, which obviously I'm going to. My name is Type Zoe after all, so that's not a problem, but we just absolutely chewed through that 800k shield these Tiamats put up during their 30% threshold, so that's really fun to see. This BT phase reached over 2 million, even though we were chewing through those shields. Just absolutely ridiculous damage, and now Cod's gonna start doing their follow-ups, so good to do. Yeah, there really isn't much to say. We've completely destroyed them at this point. COD is going to steal a turn, which you generally don't want to happen, but oh my god, it doesn't matter. We're about to summon soon. I think the turn count just stays like this. I'm pretty sure we finished them inside the summon, which is pretty crazy that we're going to be doing like 30% on one of them and almost 25% on the other. Here's Blue Deuce with her big finale, the 150k damage on the LD. Oh my god. That's the only time you'll ever be seeing something so good, with the summon, the unit BT effect, and the double blue armors. So that's about as good as it's going to get for Deuce. It's only going to go downhill from here until she gets a rework, but just absolutely ridiculous damage from COD, and Yuna herself putting up some very capable numbers. I mean, I don't think Deuce is doing a ton here, but she's doing something, because Yuna isn't quite hitting the HP caps, which means that the Brave and the HP damage from Deuce is doing something. And yep, we've got 6% on the bosses, doesn't matter, we got a COD LD. Gonna almost finish him doing 500k each, and then the follow-up's gonna take it, so thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this quote-unquote Deuce showcase, and I look forward to seeing you all in Lufenia Plus. Thanks so much, bye Inara!